And welcome back. It is time for another week of college football. It's about to get kicked off here, actually, as we're recording right now, with Army facing off with Temple. If you read our website this morning, you know we're on Army, but we've got picks for Friday and Saturday right here. Had a winning week last week, and we hope to keep it going in this one. Let's start off with that. Let's get a recap of last week. Started off Illinois plus 6.5 first half, lost on the hook there. Washington State team total over 34.5 is a win. Kansas plus 2.5 a loss. Florida Mississippi State over 28 first half win. Marshall team total under 6.5 loss. Indiana minus 28.5 win. Army minus 6 win. Buffalo Northern Illinois, it was sweaty, under 43.5 win. USC Michigan under 44.5 was a loss. We also had Utah, Oklahoma State over 52.5. That was a loss. Utah money line won. Liberty minus 6 won. Akron, South Carolina under 45 loss. And then Georgia Southern team total under 6.5 was a win. It was an 8-6 week last week. We were up 1.66 units. Year to date, 34, 36, and 2, down 4.14. Hoping to get all that back this week. We start with Virginia Tech and Miami. Miami's been dominant this year. They're second in the nation in points. They're second in yards per game, and they're sitting first in yards per play, second and third down conversion. They're 3-1 against the spread. The only miss being failing to cover 48 points against Florida A&M by 1 point. They've beaten the other 3 games by 19.5 points or more. Virginia Tech does not have the defense to stop Miami. I'm not going to hit the spread here, though. We're going to take Miami team total over 35.5, minus 105 on Ballybet. We move on to Washington and Rutgers. Rutgers showed last week that running against them was possible. Washington 60th in the nation in rushing, averaged 4.9 yards per carry this year. They've also been great on third downs. They're 13th in the nation in opponent third down conversion. They're 55th in converting their own third downs. Rutgers is 102nd in the nation in opponent third downs. That's going to be a big difference. Take Washington the points. Washington plus 2.5, minus 109, bet Rivers. Moving to Saturday, we're going to go with Oklahoma State and Kansas State. Oklahoma State's given up a ton of yards and a bunch of points this year. Still, last week, facing Isaac Wilson, back up, Zach Wilson's little brother, defense still wasn't great. They do force turnovers, though. Leads to points for Oklahoma State. Further, turnovers have been an issue for Kansas State this year. They only allowed 241 yards to BYU, but they turned over the ball 3 times. Turnovers are going to be a key here again. Take Oklahoma State plus 5.5. We're going to have a second play here. I'm not sure how good these offenses are going to look this week. We're going to take the under 56, minus 110, bet 365. We got BYU and Baylor. BYU's coming in off a major win, and they're the underdog in this game. They had turnover luck. They had a punt return, led to help them get that upset. These aren't normally replicable things. BYU's still going to score in this game. Baylor should be able to put up some points as well. It's going to be a tight game. Best play on it. Take the over 44.5, minus 115 at Caesars. We got Maryland and Indiana. Indiana's been dominant this year. They're 12th in the nation in points per game. They're 32nd in yards per game. Indiana's not making mistakes. Maryland's been able to build leads this year by capitalizing on mistakes. Indiana's 10th in the nation in turnover margin. They have not turned over the ball this year. I like them to continue this trend and score plenty. Indiana team total over 29.5, minus 118 on FanDuel. We go to Northern Illinois and NC State. Northern Illinois' offense has struggled this year. They're 101st in the nation in points per game. They're 67th in yards per game. NC State defense has struggled, though. Still, NC State's going to be able to move the ball against Northern Illinois in this one. Northern Illinois had that upset against Notre Dame. They were upset last week. This won't be an upset. NC State minus 6.5, minus 110 on Caesars. Moving to Navy and UAB. Navy offense has been great this year. They're 10th in yards per game. They're 8th in points. They're also 3rd in rushing yards per game. While the Navy defense has struggled some this year, the UAB offense has been worse. Further, the UAB defense has been terrible. Navy's going to run all over them. UAB allows 5.5 yards per rush this year. Navy minus 3.5, minus 105 on Hard Rock. Moving to Liberty and App State. Liberty struggled on the road in their only game this year on the road, but it was against New Mexico State, who Liberty always struggles with. Major difference in this game is going to be turnovers. Liberty's 34th in the nation in turnover margin, while sitting 19th in takeaways per game. App State's 116th in turnover margin, and they are 126 in giveaways per game. Turnovers are going to be the difference. Liberty minus 3.5 plus 100 ESPN. Moving to Louisville and Notre Dame. Notre Dame cannot afford a loss here. Still, their offense is one-dimensional and has to rely on the run game. Problem is, Louisville has a great run defense. Tyler Shough for them is going to do some work. He's a good quarterback. He's not going to march up and down the field, though, against this Notre Dame defense. I think we stay tight and low scoring. Under 46.5, minus 110 on FanDuel. But this is going to be our money line sprinkle of the week. I think Louisville defense carries them in this one. Jeff Brom's always got some sneaky plays for big games like this. Louisville money line plus 210 on BetRivers. We have Oklahoma and Auburn as well. Oklahoma looked inept on offense last week, and we're making a change at quarterback. Meanwhile, Auburn is run by Hank Brown and Peyton Thorne. Neither of them are good at quarterback. Yes, Auburn's 32nd in the nation, but they have not played any semblance of a real defense yet. There'll be a lot of running in this game. It's going to be low scoring, under 45.5, minus 110 on FanDuel. 2 games for us in the night slate. First, we got Ohio State and Michigan State. Aiden Childs is fun to watch for Michigan State. He can run, he can pass, he can make big plays, he can make some huge turnovers. Ohio State has shown they have a solid offense again. They're going to get a lot of short fields from Michigan State. If you give them short fields, you're going to pay. Ohio State minus 23.5, minus 110 on FanDuel. And finally, we got Georgia and Alabama. I'm expecting a great game. Georgia, though, started slow this year in pretty much every game. The unders hit in the first half in every game this year. I also expect Georgia to have a good game script against this Alabama offense to start. I like the under in the first half. Georgia, Alabama, under 24.5 in the first half. Let's recap. Miami team total over 36.5. Washington plus 2.5. Oklahoma State plus 5.5. And Oklahoma State, Kansas State under 56. BYU Baylor over 44.5. Indiana team total over 29.5. NC State minus 6.5. Navy minus 3.5. Liberty minus 3.5. Louisville Notre Dame under 46.5. Louisville money line. Oklahoma Auburn under 45.5, Ohio State minus 23.5, and Alabama Georgia under 24.5 in the first half. If you like this content, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. We're going to be back on Sunday with our top 25 rankings. See you then.